finally doing the top trains of the year. Hey everyone, Riveted Rail Fan here, and I'm here to discuss my top trains of the year, apparently. And yeah, I guess let's just get right into it. First up, out of service engines. Number 3 of out of service stuff. All of the locomotives pretty much at Mayfield, Kentucky's plant. All of these were pretty cool to see, and I really can't decide my favorite of these to see. So, no favorite, I'm just showing all of them. But 2253 was especially cool, as it was the ex-GTW Bicentennial. Number 2 is very similar to number 3. In fact, these were all taken on the same day. These are at the Paducah shops owned by NREX, or National Rail Equipment. Once again, no favorites, but really liked everything in here, and I'm just counting it as one. This is why this is in its own selection, because of all of this. Lastly, we have the Nashville and Western ex-Santa Fe and Conrail locomotives. I went early in the year, and once again, a little later around spring. Unfortunately, all of these locomotives have since been scrapped. Next, we have the steam locomotives, of which I only saw 4, so I'm not going to do the countdown. Number 3, we have IC 382, or Clinchfield 99. Being a fan of the IC, it's pretty awesome. Number 2 is the Switzerland steam locomotive, number 1149. It worked on a tourist railroad in Maine before being retired and moved to the Discovery Park of America in Union City, Tennessee. And lastly, of course, we have IC 1518. Once again, being a big fan of the Illinois Central, this was awesome to see in Paducah, Kentucky. And now it's time for the top 15 trains of 2023. Starting off with an honorable mention, though, a CN C40-8 leading a rail train. I wish this was a better shot.
Alright, well that sucked. Another thing I wanted to put on this list real quick was this Paducah and Louisville train I saw with the Veterans locomotive and a CIT switcher. Though I also saw some really cool other trains that day. Does anyone know what that blue and yellow engine is?
Since I have a fondness of switchers, I decided to put these up here. These are in Blytheville, Arkansas. Next up, we have Amtrak 59, the City of New Orleans, southbound, with 164 trailing third. This is because 184 used to be my favorite. Next up, we have the Tin-Can Railroad's train to Lenox, Tennessee. This is in my most recent video before posting this. And 9435, the lead unit here, running long hood forward of course, has now been repainted blue for some reason. I haven't gone to see it yet, but it looks pretty good from the picture I've seen. Anyways, the Tin-Can's fairly unknown, so I figured it should get a spot up here. It is a subsidiary of the West Tennessee Railroad. Next up, number 7, we have CSX number 1982, leading a CSX manifest. This is the Seaboard System Heritage Unit. Unfortunately, I missed the rocket train it was pulling, but I was able to catch Union Pacific 1943, Spirit of the Union Pacific. I got some pretty cool shots of it when it was still dark out early in the morning. Still kinda sad I missed that rocket train though. Alright, top 10. Here we have seeing M335 with CSX 4568, which was quite a surprise. Next up, we have CEFX 102 trailing behind CN 3069, the Wisconsin Central Heritage. I actually got to see it a little while later in Memphis on President's Island awaiting scrap, along with CSX 4676, XEMDX 7001. And for number 8, we have the CSX Double Veterans. I caught this a few times, but this was probably the best time. Fortunately, my camera settings were a bit off, and I also caught it again late at night. Number 7, we have a lot of locomotives headed to President's Island for scrap, and an H1. These locomotives were all going to the deadline, unfortunately, and there was also this cool hopper. Fitting for number 6 is a GP60, Union Pacific 1066. Anyways, this was ex Southern Pacific 9758. And it was leading a local out of Poplar Bluff, Missouri when I caught it. First one I'd caught in a long time. Number 5, top 5 now, and we have Amtrak 58, the northbound city of New Orleans, with a Dash 8 leading, the first time I'd ever seen one. For number 4, I don't actually have the video. I couldn't find the memory card for it and eventually just gave up. But it's BNSF 4711, a C44-9W leading CSX number 9280, a C40-8 standard cab. Anyways, with all of these disappearing and being put into storage and sold, I'm glad I caught it. Number 3 might be a bit controversial, but it's because I'm an IC fan. I caught double GP40 sister units 3107 and 3108 together on the President's Island Local. And of course, this works in Memphis, Tennessee on President's Island. For number 2, almost in number 1, is CN or IC 2466, a C40-8W. This led a grain train north, and I chased it almost all the way up the Fulton sub. Number 1 might also be a bit controversial to others, but Triple IC, you can't go wrong with it. As an IC fan, and how rare this is on my line, this was awesome to see, and I'm glad I got to chase it the little bit I did before it got dark. And that's it. I hope everyone enjoyed, and if you did, please leave a like and subscribe, and consider checking out my other content. Goodbye, everyone.